And welcome back to the pod. Today we're talking about a 20-year-old Dublin midfielder playing in the fourth tier of Swedish football called Jack O'Reilly, born the 20th of February 2004. He started off with Dublin sides Ballyfermot United, then to St Patrick's Athletics Academy, then Lourdes Celtic, then Cherry Orchard before moving to St Pat's again in 2019 as a 15-year-old with, of course, the very talented academy. To those outside of Ireland, all the above teams, i.e. Ballyfermot, Lourdes and Cherry Orchard, are very renowned youth teams in the amateur setup in the Irish system, especially Cherry Orchard, who are a conveyor belt of top Irish players at all levels, including youth and senior internationals, current and past. So to say he was in a good academy, good clubs throughout his youth and his development is an understatement, and he was definitely mixing in the top levels of underage circles. In 2022, he moved to Bows, also known as Super Bows. Would have been a tough decision, I'm sure, as Pats, as I said, they have a great academy. Had when he was there and still do. And there is also a clear pathway to the first team via their academy. But presumably he felt a move to Bows will get him closer to first team football quicker than if he had stayed at Pats. A good plan which worked out for him, you'd say, but as he made his senior pro debut, turning out 3 times in total last season, the 23 season, all of which were in the Leinster Senior Cup, scoring once with 1 assist. Presumably, however, he may have felt himself he should have been more involved in first team football sooner, and that's probably why he signed for them in 2022. But he had a lot of injuries in 2022, right up until the end of 22. Then in the 23 season, again, I presume he would have felt himself that 3 games was nowhere near where he wanted to be, should have got. But again, it's impressive for someone only 19 to be involved in first team football, especially at one of the biggest clubs historically in the top division in Ireland. Again, he made his senior debut in March 23. Perhaps it was a case he came back too early from that injury in 22. Like the last I saw, he was still on crutches early 23, late 22. So, long term, perhaps it would have been better to ease back into it, make a full recovery. Not saying he didn't make a full recovery, but ease back into it. But, coming back mid season, perhaps 23. But he would have been eager to get started in the pro game, and you got to take your chances in football. You can't blame him at all for pushing forward. Not making any further senior appearances or any league appearances for Bows. Again, he would have been still on track in my eyes, but it would have been a disappointment for him personally, I'm sure. But he was only 19, just gone 19, so he was still well on course. Nevertheless, shows the type of player he was, and he wanted regular first team football and wasn't going to settle for less. You got to take your hat off to him for that. Very essential ingredient in everyone's football career. He had options in the first division in Ireland, which to those outside of Ireland is the second tier in Irish football. However, in January of this year, 24, at 19, soon to be 20 years of age, he made another brave call, moving to get the vital week in, week out first team football that is essential, moving to Uta Högdal IK, a Swedish Division 2 side, which is the fourth tier in the Swedish pyramid, moving with a fellow Irish player, Dara Dunn, who both are with the same agent, PSM. He has hit the ground running, become a mainstay in the team from the off, turning out for all matches so far, more or less, i.e. circa 14 appearances today, 5 goals, 5 assists. The club is currently 5th, so it's about mid-season in Sweden, so promotion is still a real possibility. Season in Sweden is circa March to October, so mid-season as said, and their last game was last Saturday, just gone into a break, mid-season break they have there, so they'll be off for a few weeks, returning in a couple of weeks to the Cup, and then beginning of August back in the league. Otterhogdal appears to be a fairly small place with a local population of between 500 and under 1,000 people. So a great place, small place, but a great place to focus. No distractions on your craft and just focus on football. Again, I don't know the place. Maybe it's the nightclub capital of the world. I don't know, but of Sweden perhaps, but I doubt it. It is also, although in Sweden, a club with a very Irish connection at present, as their manager is Irish and there are three other Irish players there as well. There was different Irish players there last year, the same Irish manager there last season. So real Irish feel. In the first team at the moment with Jack, there is Dara Dunn, Steve Beeke and Godfrey Jean Euro, who's a Cameroon under 23 player, I believe, but I think he grew up in Ireland. They've all come through the Irish system. They have a young manager too, as I said. He's no stranger to moving outside the normal route of Irish and UK leagues. In 37-year-old Thomas Stewart, who he himself played in Ireland, England, Scotland, the US and Canada, and now he's managing in Sweden. So it's a great example for somebody not to restrict yourself to one area, i.e. Ireland or England or Scotland, or which in the past up to the near present was the main path for players. So it's great wealth of experience in a manager, which will only benefit Jack and reinforce that there is a world of options to develop and progress your football at the highest level. Not sure how long the deal is with his club in Sweden there, but I presume it's a year to year kind of gig, perhaps in the fourth tier. That's the way it's done. Perhaps they don't give big long-term deals if financially, the money in the fourth division in Sweden, perhaps it's like the first division in Ireland, again, the second tier in Ireland. So fourth division in Sweden, somewhere between the third tier and second tier in Ireland, I presume. Again, I'm not an expert on Swedish lower level football, but the season couldn't be going better for him so far, and this will undoubtedly open up plenty of interest in him. Obviously, there are some big teams in Swedish and Scandinavian football, so there will be scouts always on the lookout, especially in Sweden and those leagues, and there will be a pathway to those teams available to him now that perhaps wouldn't have highlighted him if he was still in Ireland to the same degree, so the fact he's in Sweden, there'll be more eyes on him in that part of the world that wouldn't be looking at players in Ireland as of yet. Otterhogdal is linked with another Swedish team as well, Östersunds FK, who are currently in the second tier of Swedish football, so that could be a potentially easy move to make too for him if he decides to move on at the end of the season, or of course come back to Ireland. He could go to the UK or further afield, but there'll be lots of options to him now that perhaps wouldn't be the case if there is lots of eyes from leagues on Irish clubs now, but like Scandinavia wouldn't be one of those options. So yeah, it's a good move from internationally. He's represented Ireland at under 16s, under 18s thus far, so the pedigree is clearly there. The fact that he's turned out for internationally Ireland at those levels, perhaps he feels he should be further ahead of where he was before he joined the fourth division team in fourth tier team in Sweden in his career, but this is just down to the high standards he's setting himself, and he is in a great spot at only 20 with international youth caps in his pocket, senior football in the highest league in Ireland as well, being at two of Ireland's best clubs historically, Pats and Bows, at two of the top academies in Ireland as well, Bows and Pats. A great list of amateur sides and pedigree in the amateur game at youth level to boot, with Ballyfermot, Lourdes and Sherry Orchard. Now he's international league exposure in a big European league, playing week in, week out Swedish fourth tier football with the exposure to big clubs scouting in Sweden that will bring elsewhere in Scandinavia and also Europe as a whole. So he's in a great position, just needs to do it on the field, continue to do it on the field, focus on his craft, put in the hard work on the pitch and off it, and the rest thereafter will happen. You know, it's exciting times lay ahead in the not too distant future. If you liked the video, send us a subscribe, like, comment. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we'll be watching.